The following program is sponsored by the Today's Home Remodeler television network.
Welcome to today's Home Remodeler. I'm Stuart Keith, and on today's show, we're looking at the importance of air sealing when re-insulating a home. We'll begin with Gary Rockweiler from Rockweiler Insulation, who will introduce our program and the air sealing project he has in store for us. Next, we'll catch up with Ben Nichols, who will show us some key areas in the home that an energy audit showed to be huge sources of heat loss. And we'll finish up with Brian Aumann up in the attic as he shows us the attention to detail that's needed to properly seal up a home. So we have a lot to cover today, and we'll get started after these messages.
Insulation. There are so many choices. What's right for you? The energy professionals at Rockweiler Insulation can help by providing an energy analysis of your home and a recommendation on the right type of insulation. Proper insulation will reduce excess noise, help maintain a comfortable temperature, and reduce your energy costs. Don't settle for less. Contact Rockweiler Insulation at 845-7625. What you don't see makes all the difference.
As energy prices continue to rise, homeowners are searching for ways to lower their energy bills. One method that's gaining in popularity is air sealing in conjunction with re-insulating. So let's begin with Gary Rockweiler from Rockweiler Insulation, who will explain why air sealing is critical to saving energy in your home.
Well, this is one of the areas, Stuart, that we would talk about for air sealing in a new home, of course. It's the bathroom area where a lot of the vents and the plumbing and everything goes through upper plates needs to be sealed to keep the draft stopping in place. Now, that's pretty easy to get to in a new home. You know, it's all open. But our challenges are when we get to a retrofit, which is not a remodel. Retrofit is a standalone, older insulation job in a home that's maybe 50, 60, 100 years old. Those areas are extremely difficult to get to because they're hidden by a lot of things, mostly insulation. And in order to do a complete effective job, we want to stop the air draft around those bypasses, those leaks. And so that's the bulk of the work when my guys get there, is finding those places, seal those with foam, and be ready to then put the insulation over that.
It seems to me the industry is evolving. It's getting more towards air sealing.
Oh, sure. This has gone on in new construction for a number of years, and we've incorporated it into the retrofit, of course, because the structures are still the same. New or existing, they need to stop the energy leak. So this has become more common in the retrofit market to come in and air seal more thoroughly than we used to. Because if we don't, we haven't accomplished much. We can add more insulation, but if we don't really stop the air leaks, we haven't accomplished much. There's still going to be too much energy leaking out of the building.
So Gary, if I'm a homeowner watching today's show, I know that our home has some drafty areas. It's not quite as comfortable as we'd like it to be. How do I get the process started? Should I just give your company a call?
Sure, that's one way, Stuart. That's a common way to do it. There are a number of ways to do that. There are home auditors that have been in place in this area, at least for the past 10 years. You can find them anywhere you go online or somewhere and look for home energy auditors. Well, right now there's a program going on within the city of Madison only called Green Madison. They have a whole separate program with auditors to address energy needs, and that will be pre-job and post-job testing. So sure, that's how you'd get in touch with those folks. Again, we are a clearinghouse for that too. We have folks we like to deal with, or we have a list of those, and we'll be happy to let customers know who they are.
So really, with air sealing playing such a major role in energy usage in your home, probably a good idea to have an auditor come in, do a pre-blower door, a post-blower door test, and that can really have a third party verify the job that was done in the house.
That will be the one way to actually guarantee you're getting what you're paying for.
Boy, and you know, those are so many good points, and I guess if I'm a homeowner watching today, take away that it's more than just our value. When you're looking to re-insulate or retrofit insulation into your existing home, don't just think about adding R20, R30 to your attic, think about the air sealing. That's really what you're pounding on?
Oh, exactly, because the air sealing is the bigger part of the energy loss. You could probably get by realistically with lesser R value if the air sealing was done properly. Now, when we've done our new home construction shows, we've shown that you could get by with a thinner wall if you do the air sealing properly. It's all air exchange through the living area called a conditioned space to the outside. You minimize the air exchange, you minimize the energy loss.
Sure, and it's not just about saving money, it's creature comfort as well.
Oh yeah, and of course we all relate well to that.
Yeah, definitely. So on today's show, what do we have the opportunity to look at?
Oh, today, Stu, we have the perfect home for this. It's approximately 50-year-old home that will have just these challenges. Ben and Brian are going to meet us out there and go through what we need to do. It's going to be just perfect for this example.
Well, great. I'm anxious to learn more about the process. I appreciate you coming on today's show and introducing it to us.
My pleasure.
Now let's catch up with insulation specialist Brian Aumann, who will introduce our project. A beautiful location for a city home, and this home, as Gary said, is about 50 or 60 years old. Gary mentioned that the industry has really evolved, and now the focus is really more on the air sealing rather than the insulation. Insulation is still important, you want to get the R value, but it really isn't as effective as it can be if you don't pay close attention to detail to that air sealing.
Every project starts with the most important phase of it being the air sealing. The insulation, you can add as much as that in the world as you want, but if you don't properly air seal all these areas of a home, the insulation kind of becomes irrelevant.
You know, I had a chance to briefly walk through the home with the homeowners, and they said it all began with an audit from Home Performance with Energy Star. And when that auditor left, he was shaking his head saying, this house is a sieve. And that really worried the homeowners that they weren't going to have any remedy for that. But according to you guys, they're going to be very comfortable when you're done.
Yep, they had that Home Performance Energy Star rater come out, provide them with that test initially. That gave us the footprint for when the homeowner called us to come out, take a look, and provide an estimate for him. It gave us a real good starting point on all the areas that we need to address with air sealing before the installation starts to get this thing sealed up right.
Okay, so what are we going to see in this project?
This project here, we're going to have our project manager, Ben Nichols, walk you through it, Stuart, but we have some work up in the attic, going ahead sealing off some interior and exterior wall top plates with some spray foam, boxing some recessed lights, spray foaming some skylights, some interior soffit drops, as well as once we get to the main floors, we have a stair that leads us up to the attic that we don't have full access to go ahead and air seal, so we're going to do the next best thing, dense pack that with cellulose, stop all that air movement inside of that staircase. And then we also have some exterior walls that we couldn't address from the outside due to some stone finish, so we're going to drill and blow those from the inside, dense pack those with cellulose as well, and then head down to the lower levels and address the crawl spaces.
Great. Well, it sounds like it's more than just attic air loss that you're worried about. It encompasses the total thermal boundary of the house.
Yeah, we've been working with the Wisconsin Energy Star raters for quite a few years now, Stuart. We feel very comfortable with that relationship with those, as well as the customers that we get from them, to go ahead and provide them with a nice finished product and a nice energy efficient home.
You know, and not only do you guys learn from those energy audits, but there's good peace of mind for the homeowner when you're done, and for you guys that it's done correctly with that post blower door test.
Yep, getting it tested when it's done certainly gives a lot of credibility to the work that we've done.
Well, I'm anxious to get in here, catch up with the project manager, Ben, to learn more about this project and how you guys tackle all these leaks. Thanks a lot for coming on.
You bet, Stuart.
And we'll do that next, when we continue with today's Home Remodeler.
Insulation. There are so many choices. What's right for you? The energy professionals at Rockweiler Insulation can help by providing an energy analysis of your home and a recommendation on the right type of insulation. Proper insulation will reduce excess noise, help maintain a comfortable temperature, and reduce your energy costs. Don't settle for less. Contact Rockweiler Insulation at 845-7625. What you don't see makes all the difference.
In our last segment, Gary Rockweiler explained how the focus of the insulation industry has shifted to air sealing and how it's critical to energy savings and comfort. Now let's catch up with project manager Ben Nichols from Rockweiler Insulation, who will take us through the living space of this 60-year-old home and show us the sneaky leaks an energy audit uncovered.
Stu, we're going to start this project in the basement. This is an unfinished basement area where we're going to address the box sill. The box sill is the space above the foundation wall below the floor. And as you can see in here, we've got fiberglass insulation. but that's not really enough.
You know, that looks pretty common that I've seen in a lot of homes. Most people just fit some insulation in there, but you're saying that's not enough? Why is that not enough?
Well, the box sill can be one of the leakiest spots in a house. You get a lot of air infiltration, comes in low, and then will rise up through the house. What we like to do is to remove this insulation and apply a closed cell spray foam sealant into that area.
So are you talking about every single cavity, not just the ones with the heat venting or electrical access coming in?
Yeah, every single cavity, especially the ones where there might be a penetration to the outside, like a hose bib or your HVAC intake exhaust.
Boy, that must be challenging on a retrofit application like this, getting the entire perimeter done.
It sure is. It's something we do every day, and it's an important area of the house, and this is a great place to start and do that.
Do you ever see that in brand new construction? You get called back out on it?
Absolutely. I was just at a job site the other day. The home was only 6 months old, and they were asking us to come in and retrofit their 6-month-old home to seal their box sill.
Boy, so there's a good case in point of a homeowner. If you're building new, talk to your builder, insulation professional, and insist on an air sealing package in the box sill area.
That's right. It's an important area, and it's often missed.
Okay, what else is going on down in this basement?
There's 2 crawl spaces that we're going to treat similarly. We've got a box sill. All your crawl spaces have a box sill. And so what we'll do in the crawl spaces is to apply a visqueen barrier, a plastic barrier that will seal to the walls, and then we'll foam seal the box sill, and then down the walls connecting to that visqueen to encapsulate and create a thermal boundary and an airtight area so that box sill and crawl space area is sealed off.
Sure, well, as Brian mentioned outside, it is an entire home. I asked about it, it's just the attic leaks. No, it really does start in the basement, work its way up. Let's head upstairs and look at some more aspects of this project.
Sounds good. Stuart, I want to show you this area. This is an area of the home that, in the home performance test, was shown to be very leaky, and the homeowners complained about this room always being cold and drafty. So what we've done here is the homeowner's contractors opened up the wall for us to show us that there was no solid surface behind this wall. This is tongue and groove paneling, and as you can imagine, each seam has an opportunity to allow air infiltration from the outside.
Oh, so even though it's tongue and groove and there's tar paper or a solid wall on the outside, it was still allowing air in?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, where there might be a seam in the exterior sheathing or a penetration through the wall, or in this case, this home is balloon framed, and this is connected, all I can see, right up into the attic from here. Later in the show, we'll show you how we're going to seal that from above to eliminate these 2 spaces and separate them.
Okay, so I recognize this room from the outside. Brian said that you had to tackle it from the inside because of the stone facade on the outside. So this is a way to show us how you're going to actually seal each cavity.
That's right. In this case, we've got an open wall cavity, and we're going to treat this just like a new construction home. And we're going to completely air seal this cavity by applying a bead of foam all the way around, picture framing this wall, and then any other penetrations, whether it's a wire or anything that might be going through a sill plate or through the wall, to completely air seal this. Then we can re-insulate it. But back to our theme today, it's all about the air sealing.
Sure, so you're not only concerned with inside air movement coming from the outside, but also between each cavity as well. Okay, are there some other areas on the first floor?
Absolutely. Stuart, this is another area of the home that I wanted to show you, much like the other one where we had the leaky tongue and groove paneling on it. But I wanted to show you some other details that we can accomplish when we've got an open wall. Here's a standard outlet on an outside wall, and as you can imagine, this is a leaky area of the home. What we have is manufacturing seams, wire going through, slots, all kinds of different holes. Simple solution to air seal this is to completely encapsulate this in foam as part of our air sealing package that we do in this cavity.
Sure, that'll make a huge difference in the wall. Nice to have that type of access. Over here, it looks like a cold air return on an exterior wall right down in this area.
That's right. It does look like it, but the funny thing is that when there was paneling over this, this cavity was completely closed off. And when we investigated further, this is not a cold air return. It may have been changed during remodeling. The fact is, it doesn't need to be open and needs to be sealed to air seal this wall.
So how are you going to address that and seal that up?
In this case, we'll use a piece of rigid foam board that'll be cut to fit and foam sealed in place. Now we've got a solid surface, this cavity is air sealed, we can move on to the next area.
Great case in point of why you want an experienced professional there. You really never know what you're going to encounter until you remove the siding and have access to the wall. But that brings up my next question is, if I don't have tongue and groove paneling that's relatively easy to remove, say I have plaster walls or drywall, do you have to come in and be this invasive from the inside?
Absolutely not. Most of the time when we're retrofitting an outside wall that needs insulation, we're not doing it from the inside. We can do it by simply removing a row of siding on each wall and dense packing that wall with fiberglass.
Oh, that's good to know. So really there's ample opportunity for any homeowner of any age to increase their energy efficiency and indoor comfort just by hiring a trained professional and having them perform either from the inside or the outside all these air sealing techniques.
That's right.
Stick around. We'll head up to the attic to see some more sneaky leaks when we continue with today's Home Remodeler.
Insulation. There are so many choices. What's right for you? The energy professionals at Rockweiler Insulation can help by providing an energy analysis of your home and a recommendation on the right type of insulation. Proper insulation will reduce excess noise, help maintain a comfortable temperature, and reduce your energy costs. Don't settle for less. Contact Rockweiler Insulation at 845-7625. What you don't see makes all the difference.
So far in today's show, we've learned the importance of air sealing in creating a more energy efficient and comfortable home. Now let's head up to the attic where Brian Aumann from Rockweiler Insulation shows us some more sneaky leaks that were uncovered by an energy audit and how these leaks will be properly sealed. Okay, and as we mentioned earlier in the show, the homeowners took advantage of an energy audit. And what did that show as far as air leaks up here in the attic?
What that showed us, Stuart, is that just about any penetration, even the ones that aren't obvious, are leaking in this home. The interior top wall plates, as we mentioned earlier, interior soffit drops, as well as some of the balloon framing that Ben pointed out earlier in the show with the connection of the walls to the attic up here. You can actually reach your hand down into this wall cavity. We could probably go down below and we could see our hands down below from the segment you were shooting earlier.
And so that is a conduit for cold air to come down during the heating season?
Not only cold air to go down, but your warm air in the house to creep its way up to the attic, Stuart.
Okay, and so what are you going to do in this case right here?
Well, you can see the guys have already cut a couple pieces here of insulation. So what they'll do is they'll take this fiberglass, they'll actually stuff it down this wall cavity a little bit, and then they will spray foam over the top of that, Stuart, to create a sealed kind of false top plate sense. But it will actually close that cavity off, make it a closed cavity on the bottom side in the conditioned space, not allowing any of that conditioned air to get to the unconditioned attic.
Okay, that makes sense. I see some foam that looks to be pre-cut already.
Yeah, what we have over here, Stuart, were some of those interior soffit drops we were talking about earlier. The guys have a piece kind of cut and fit over it. There's actually a recessed light in there, and what this is just an extension of the regular ceiling down below that's not flush with everything that's at the 8-foot level. So in here we have that recessed light. The guys chose to use this Thermax foam board because it has a fire rating to it, and we want to make sure that we're being as safe as we can when we're working around some of these lights.
Boy, and I know from past shows, recessed cans can be a huge source of infiltration in a home.
They're just like little chimneys, Stuart. They will just kind of dump all that conditioned air up into this unconditioned attic all winter long on you.
Okay, that's two areas of concern. What about the skylight that I see over here?
Yep, these skylights in this house, very large skylights, Stuart, and these are a big concern for heat loss as well. These walls of this skylight that we're looking at are pretty much the same as an exterior wall of the house, so we need to insulate these as well properly like we do everything else. The guys have chosen that some of the framing of the skylight was good, so they're going to leave some of that fiberglass batting in there and just spray closed cell foam over the top of those, Stuart. But on the sides where it was kind of insulated in a poor manner, they've chosen to rip that off, and we're just going to go ahead and spray the closed cell spray foam directly onto that drywall surface.
Again, that closed cell foam does a great job at adding R value, but even more importantly, it really does a good job at sealing off airflow.
Yep, the air sealing first, and you get the R values with it, Stuart.
Now, a little earlier you mentioned the top plate where an interior wall reaches the ceiling here. Is that one of those right there?
It's one of these right here, Stuart. We have the interior top wall plate, which below this is an interior partition wall on the conditioned side of the home. You can see these two gaps running down the side of this where the drywall does not make a complete connection to that, and there's nothing sealing that. So under the testing, when that home performance tester comes out, runs that blower door and runs around with the infrared gun, you can see the amount of air leakage that leaks down these walls in the heating season, allowing cold air to leak into your house as well as the conditioned heated air to get up into this attic space.
Wow, so that's less than a centimeter on either side of that plate right there.
Yeah.
And it's that big of air loss, so you really have to have good attention to detail to seal that up right. How are you going to seal that?
Well, the guys, what they'll do, Stuart, is they will spray over the top of this entire thing from one side of this drywall to the other, encapsulating that top plate in the closed cell spray foam product, air sealing it completely.
Now, in previous shows, I know we had touched on chutes coming from the soffits. Did you have to do that in this attic as well?
We did this in this attic as well, Stuart. Over there you can see that the guys already have the air chutes installed in every rafter space leading out to the soffit area to harness that fresh air from outside up into this attic to ventilate it the right way.
Because again, as you've told us in past shows, this temperature here should be the same as the ambient temperature outside.
It should be as close as you can get it to it, Stuart, absolutely.
Okay, that's like 5 different areas of concern up here, and we haven't even touched on the other penetrations like a soil stack or a chimney or some of the electrical.
Yep, we still get all the basic ones that are in just about every attic, Stuart, around the chimneys, bath fans, kitchen hood vents, light boxes, smoke detectors, all the plumbing vent stacks coming up through the top wall plates into the attic. We seal all those as well.
Again, no substitute for an experienced contractor with a high attention to detail. If I'm a homeowner interested in having this done, how much time should I budget to complete a project like this?
This particular project, Stuart, we're going to be here the better part of the week, but the average job, usually a day or two.
Wow, a day or two to even a week, in my opinion. If you're going to be living in your house, you want a comfortable home and an energy efficient home. Take advantage of the services that a company like yours provides.
Absolutely, Stuart.
Okay, well, it's been enjoyable learning the tips of the trade. I appreciate you coming on and walking us through this attic.
Thanks for having me, Stuart.
Now here are some key points to help summarize today's show. If you're looking to increase your home's energy efficiency and comfort, consider having an energy audit to locate areas of concern. Energy loss can occur throughout a home, and an energy audit will help find all those sneaky leaks that might otherwise go undetected. Then work with an experienced insulation contractor that specializes in air sealing in addition to re-insulating. And remember, our value is important, but in the end, it's the air sealing that'll really make a difference. Well, we're all out of time for this week's show. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you again next time at Today's Home Remodeler.